In today's video, we're going to talk about spiritual technique number 3, which is by far the most interesting and the most powerful of spiritual techniques to help you get a job. But before we get into our topic, I'd like to invite you to click the subscribe button. Your subscribing to our channel helps support us with carrying the message. And also, please do consider clicking the notification bell. That way you'll be notified by YouTube every time Financial UA posts a new video, and you can be one of the first people to see it. And then finally, if you enjoy this video and would like to see more videos similar to it, please give us a big thumbs up for service. Hey, welcome. My name is Jay from Baltimore, Maryland, and I want to welcome you to the Financial UA General Service Office. So come on in and grab a seat, and let's get this meeting started. Now finally, for spiritual technique number 3, we're going to focus on using the spiritual slogan, act as if. And in technique number 3, I want to encourage you and teach you how to act as if you have the spiritual job, the prosperous job, the vision job, the recovery job that you've always looked forward to, the job that's going to challenge you, inspire you, and motivate you to become your best self and to bring your best self one day at a time to the work world as a trusted servant to help and serve other people, especially by creating and holding space for healing, recovery, and prosperity. Let's summarize just for a moment. The very first video in this series focused on how you can prepare yourself to get a spiritual job. If you'd like to see that video, you can click right here. The second video in the series talked about spiritual technique number 1, which was all about learning how to ask for help, learning how to ask for what you need in a spiritual setting. If you'd like to see that video, you can click right here. The next video in the series focused on spiritual technique number 2, which was all about how do you build a support team? How do you build a small group that can support you spiritually as you prepare yourself to get a spiritual job? And that spiritual small group or team was basically a pressure relief group, pressure relief team, or an action group, or a prosperity team. But any of those types of small groups that could focus on making you the center of spiritual attention so they could help to channel and fill you with spiritual energy and build your confidence to help you prepare yourself before you go out into the world to get a job. If you'd like to see that video, you can click right here. Now, we're about to share and talk about spiritual technique number 3. Now, I just want to remind you again that these spiritual techniques in and of themselves are not that powerful. They are not magical. There's nothing special about these techniques. Something to keep in mind by using any spiritual technique is that the technique itself has no power. There's nothing magical about a technique. The technique is simply an organized way to take action out in the world. But if we make it a spiritual technique, what we're talking about is taking a source of power, channeling that power into the technique, and then the technique comes to life in a very powerful and energetic way that it normally could never do had it not been connected to a spiritual power source. The technique itself has no power. In fact, the power has the power. What do we mean by that? Well, when we say the power has the power, we're talking about higher power, or in Financial UA, we talk about how higher power is converted into earning power. But either way, that's where the power is. And the technique itself has no power. It's almost like a hollow object. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the power from higher power and channel it into the technique, filling the technique with energy and power. And when we do that, the technique comes to life in a really powerful way and becomes a spiritual technique, because it is a technique that has been saturated with spiritual power. I remember an old coach of mine said that a lot of people, when they're new, they rely very heavily on techniques. They use techniques as if they were crutches. And people who have achieved a level of mastery don't even bother with techniques. They don't care about techniques anymore because they focus on channeling the power. And if they can effectively channel the power, it doesn't matter what technique they use, because any technique will work for them at that point. So the key to all this is really about channeling a lot of higher power, or earning power, or both, and then any technique will work at that point. So what we're going to talk about is how to take spiritual technique number 3 and channel a lot of earning power into it to make it really, really effective, so that you could get really, really interesting and effective results. Now, spiritual technique number 3 is based in a single slogan or a single principle. And that principle or slogan is act as if. So in spiritual technique, you're going to act as if you have a job, as if it's a prosperous job, as if it's a job that brings out the best of who you are, a job that inspires and motivates you to channel power to help create and hold space for healing and recovery. This job is going to inspire and motivate you to want to be a trusted servant. So this technique is broken up into a couple of pieces. Let's talk about the pieces one piece at a time, and then we'll put all the pieces together, and I believe you'll see how each piece flows into the next. So the first piece is build a schedule. If you're going to act as if you have a work schedule. So I want you to sit down with a sheet of paper and write out over a 1-week period of time what your ideal spiritual work schedule would look like. Pick 2 days that you're going to have off, and then the other 5 days will be the days that you act as if you're going to work. In those 5 days, I want you to look at each day, 1 day at a time. On Monday, I want you to schedule 4 face-to-face 12-step meetings. On Tuesday, I want you to schedule 4 face-to-face 12-step meetings. On Wednesday, schedule 4 face-to-face meetings. Thursday, schedule 4 face-to-face meetings. And on Friday, schedule 4 face-to-face meetings. That means that for each of your imaginary work days, you're going to attend 4 face-to-face recovery meetings. You get to pick which fellowship or fellowships you'd like to attend. On Monday, you might attend a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, followed by an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, followed by an Overeaters Anonymous meeting, followed by Al-Anon. And on Tuesday, you could switch it up and maybe attend all of those same fellowships, or you could attend different fellowships, just as long as you're attending 4 face-to-face meetings. Now, to spread these meetings out, I'd encourage you to pace yourself and spread them out with about 2 hours in between each meeting. What this would look like is maybe at 9 a.m. you'd attend an AA meeting. At 11:30, you might attend a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. At 2:30, you might attend a Debtors Anonymous meeting. And at 5:30, you might attend a Al-Anon meeting. But there's about 2 hours in between each meeting, and there's a reason for that. You're going to act as if going to meetings is your job. And you're going to attend 4 meetings each day. Now, each meeting takes about an hour, but there's also drive time to and from each meeting, and it helps to get to each meeting early. That way you can help put out some chairs, maybe do some trusted service, network with other people, get some phone numbers, make some friends, and you can stay after the meeting. Staying after the meeting gives you the opportunity to put away the chairs, do some trusted service, get some phone numbers, do some networking, and make some friends. and still have enough time to drive to your next meeting and then repeat the process. So what you're going to practice, acting as if recovery is your job, you're going to go to each meeting with the mindset that you're going to be a trusted servant. You're going to get there early, you're going to help do some service, you're going to be present in the meeting, helping to create and hold space for healing and recovery. You're going to stay after the meeting, do fellowship, participate in the meeting after the meeting, connect with others, get some phone numbers, and then get ready to do it again. So you're going to do this 4 times each day. And what this will do is, first of all, it'll get you out into the world, connecting with other people, attending some meetings, which is always good for your recovery anyways. And it'll help you to feel like you're actually doing something constructive and productive with yourself. And what better place can you find in order to connect with a higher power? So I would encourage you, for each of these meetings that you choose, pick healthy meetings, and preferably face-to-face meetings. And the reason why is because real connection happens face-to-face. There's some types of connections that can happen when people attend a virtual meeting, but real connection happens when you are face-to-face with real people in real time. So I want to encourage you to pick meetings that allow you to do that. Going to these meetings gives you a chance to practice showing up. It gives you a chance to practice following through. It gives you a chance to practice being of service. It gives you an opportunity to ask for what you need. It gives you an opportunity to meet other people in recovery and share about your process so that other people might be able to refer you to opportunities that they might have heard of. And who knows, you might meet a friend of a friend who introduces you to another friend who happens to have a job. So one way or the other, what meetings do is it puts you in an environment where there's a lot of higher power, and when you connect with that higher power and engage with it in a really positive way, inviting it to be a part of your job-seeking process, and you demonstrate that you are open and willing to follow through and show up, to be of service, and to be present in this world, higher power always takes notice and says, hey, this person is showing up, let's give them an opportunity. I would also encourage you, in the morning, as you're getting ready to go out on your full day of attending meetings and participating in meetings, I want to encourage you to dress your best. And the reason why is, in a meeting, clearly you're going to connect with a higher power. Consider this like an opportunity to connect with and have an interview with your boss. Because higher power, in a lot of ways, is our spiritual boss, our spiritual director, guiding us and directing us. So in this spiritual space of a meeting, it's a great practice to show up as your best self. Showing up as your best self demonstrates that you respect the meeting, you respect the space that is being held, and you respect the fellowship and the level of communion you have with your earning power and higher power. You are able to show up in a way that respects you and also the meeting and also the higher power and also the process. And by showing up in a way that you are demonstrating the best of who you are, the best of who you're capable of being, you're saying, this is who I want to be, and I'm open to being more than this. I'm willing to show up as the most prosperous person I'm capable of being. I'm willing to show up as the most professional person I'm capable of being. And I'm willing to show up as the most spiritual person I'm capable of being.
Now it's time for our 7th tradition. Every financial UA meeting ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. There are no dues or fees for financial UA membership. All of our meetings and workshops are completely free to attend, both over the phone and face-to-face. Please keep in mind that we do have expenses, such as covering the cost of our website, developing new literature, and maintaining our service office. If you would like to make a 7th Tradition donation, you can click the PayPal link below or visit our website at financialua.org and click the Donate button. You may also support this program by purchasing a copy of our Financial UA 12-Step Workbook or our Financial UA 12 Traditions Workbook. You can also help us carry the message by subscribing to our channel and even by sharing this video with your sponsor or your sponsee. Lastly, please consider clicking that like button. Thumbs up for service.
The last part of this spiritual technique involves using a court slip. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to have you fill out a court slip for each meeting you attend. But what you can do is fill out an attendance sheet for each meeting you attend. For those of you who have a little bit of a background in Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous, you might recall that when people get in a lot of trouble because of their drinking or drugging, they end up, as one of their consequences, having to go to court. And if the judge that they are in front of is merciful, the judge will sentence them to attend meetings. And the judge will usually require that that person have a slip that they have to get signed at each meeting they attend in order to prove that they attended the meeting. So in the same kind of way, instead of having you go on a court slip to each of these meetings, let's pretend, acting as if, your attendance sheet is a punch sheet. If you've ever been in an industry or a company that has a time clock where you have to punch in or punch out in order for the time clock to keep track of your billable hours, well, we're going to apply this idea of using a court slip, which is really just an attendance sheet. I want to encourage you to come up with your own attendance sheet that you can turn in at each of these meetings to keep track of the hours that you are attending at the meeting, to keep track of the meetings. And this is a really awesome acting as if moment, so you can see at the end of your spiritual work week how many meetings you attended, how many spiritual billable hours you put in, and it'll give you a sense of accomplishment being able to set this goal for 1 week to attend 4 meetings a day over the course of 5 days. And at the end of your spiritual work week, you will have attended 20 face-to-face meetings. What an incredible accomplishment that will be for you if you have 20 meetings signed off on your sheet, and you know that you showed up as your best self, dressed your best, to be of service, to connect with others, to network, to connect with higher power, and to channel your earning power 20 different times over the course of a week. What an incredible experience that is going to be, and what a great story you're going to have to be able to share with others that you did this, and you'll be able to talk about what happens next. Everyone that I've worked with that has done this type of assignment has always had mind-blowing stories to tell, incredible experiences, spiritual experiences, as well as serendipitous opportunities that have come up, usually through spiritual networking, where when they share about what they're doing in each of these face-to-face meetings, people in the meetings are excited and curious and they want to know more. They say, "Tell me more." And as you share about your experience, this journey that you're on, trying to connect with a spiritual earning power in order to show up and be available to get a spiritual job, a lot of really interesting things happen. I don't want to tell you all of those things just yet. I want to allow you to discover them for yourself. But as you experience these opportunities and have these incredible stories to tell, I want to invite you to share day by day what happened for you in a Financial UA meeting. Usually it'll be at 9:30 in the evening Eastern Standard Time when we have our evening meetings. So you can attend your face-to-face meetings throughout your spiritual workday, and at night you can bookend in a Financial UA meeting what happened, what it was like. Did you have challenges? Was it difficult? Did you overcome some particular things that were holding you back? Did you realize things about yourself? Share about all these things. A financial UA meeting is an excellent place to unpackage your experience from throughout the day. And you could talk about all of the positive actions you took, all of the little incremental emotional and spiritual risks you took showing up. But the nice part about doing this by going to a series of meetings is that the risk is very, very small. In fact, it's almost as if there's no risk at all, because if you're watching this video, it's very likely that you already know how to attend a meeting, and you're probably pretty comfortable with doing that already. So what we're encouraging you to do is to turn up the volume on your ability to attend meetings face-to-face, and then to build on that and build those muscles and stretch your comfort zone one little increment at a time in a way that feels safe. And before you know it, the next thing that'll happen is you'll be doing the very same thing in a job setting and getting paid for it. And what better way to be a trusted servant, one day at a time, showing up to create and hold space for healing, recovery, and prosperity, to help other people, to be a channel of your higher power, and get paid for it. Now that's what earning power can do for you. Now's the time for sharing. Who'd like to take a share? In the comments section below, please share your experience, strength, and hope around acting as if. Do you have a great story to share? Please share it below, and please do keep your share positive and non-offensive. That way other people can learn from your experience, strength, and hope. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section below. And if you have any requests for videos that we might make in the future to explain different principles of financial UA or how to apply spiritual techniques to different life situations, please leave your video recommendations in the space below. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, please like this video and give us a big thumbs up for service. Consider subscribing if you have not already subscribed. And of course, finally, do consider clicking that notification bell. That way YouTube will notify you every time Financial UA posts a new video, and you can be one of the first people to see it.
As we move towards closure, please visit us at www.financialua.org or email us at financialua@gmail.com. Now let's close with our prosperity prayer. God, grant us a serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, the wisdom to know the difference, and the prosperity to afford it. Awesome! Hey, thanks so much for joining us and helping us to create and hold this space for healing and recovery. And please help us carry the message by subscribing to our channel and maybe sharing this video with others. And most important, keep coming back. Thanks. Have a great day.
God grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, wisdom to know the difference, and the prosperity